And the way how the world works, it takes things from each other and makes things super hard for people to be successful and afford the things that we want. So then you wonder why people dip into other things and why they do what they do. And wonder why, they make all these assets and materialistic things, but they're all inventions for people to use, so it's all legalized. You got to worry about today, nowadays, not what happened centuries ago, because some of this stuff didn't come out until past 2020, and it's fandangling with time, showing that a lot of the stuff they made up back then doesn't apply nowadays. The problem with witchcraft and all that stuff is that some people are involved with traps, and that's messed up the system and society that have dipped into crazy things. But if people are firing each other from their jobs and you make a wish off a trinket to get a permanent job and it gives it to you, well, it's just adding an addition, because also, the world sets you up to fail, so it kind of makes it hard to succeed. And then what you think is a sin is not also a sin, because the world is destructive and destroys your image and destroys your reputation, destroys the things you stand for, and people are just involved in the messes, and it doesn't always come out to the way we want the life to be, but we're supposed to be the ones manifesting and creating our realities. So if we want justice, then we just got to say there is justice, and then it just happens. That's simple in how life works. It's not that, I've learned to be this way. It's just I've learned to accept things differently than other people. I've learned to just let things go and let people be people, but if you're going to pass judgment for the things I've done in my past, you just overdo it sometimes. You got to let people and let ourselves, of people of faith, enjoy ourselves and enjoy our stories that we've been through, Once we go to the next life, then we have something to worry about. But here on Earth, we got to learn all these studies and learn all these details and learn all these skills and job titles, and you got to have the concept of here on being on Earth, not on all this other stuff. And if we learn spiritual gifts, well, we have the freedom and speech to keep all this stuff alive and keep faith in the streets. And it boils down to what we use it for. Just because you don't want to get married doesn't mean we should destroy the churches. Just because some lady came to church and wanted to fool around with the priest, when 24/7, the masses aren't open 24/7. Churches are always during the daytime or the afternoon, or like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. All these cases where people showed up framing priests and priests fooling around with people was all outside of church. It's got nothing to do with the church services. So that's a nice try, but your false advertisement and your false lies is also worth money of suing. So the press can either start printing the truth or they just get sued. Even if they don't have the money, it all goes down on documentation that they all lied, and more people aren't going to believe you anymore. So thanks a lot to the bad apples. Thank you for making the system worse for each other. You think it's all fun and games until you're crap out of luck and you're having a hard time just as much as everybody else is. Now it's not so funny, now is it? Now it's starting to get scary, because them same weapons that are used against people of faith are used against every single other person on the planet. Being a person of faith is not a privilege. It's not even a duty. It's not even an expectation. It's free will. It's not even granted. It's not even ownership. It's not even predicted. It's not even something given that was given to us before born. Our fates are in our hands. It's got nothing to do with, all this stuff in videos that people are talking about saying, our lives are pre-orchestrated and predicted. No, it's not, man. If this was all predicted, then how come coronavirus came along and upset that disorder? You know, how come all that stuff came to happen? You know, you mediums and you predictions mean nothing in the eyes of God. God created the earth. You still haven't come up with scientific answers or galaxies why the earth was created. Oh, a ball of gas in the air created stars and galaxies. Yeah. Well, what created the balls of gas, huh? What created the first of the first, you know? You want to ask stupid questions, what created God? Why don't you ask yourself what created humanity? Why don't you do the research, do scientists, look up newspapers, look up answers. Don't just sit around in your homes and blasting videos and sit there coming out with knowledge saying, oh, well, it's this and this and this. When they showed me this stuff, well, you didn't read books, you didn't get involved in trinket battles. You didn't do any of this. Fans don't create the laws. They have suggestions. You know as well as I do, the power relies on people. But we as people have more power than you think we do. We can accomplish anything. If we want to practice super abilities, then that's what we can do, because that's how we concept the planet. Because we fall short. We want to be smarter than what we're given. We want to breach out. We want to impress people with knowledge. We want to make people laugh. We don't want to make them feel horrified by everything that's walking around on the planet. When we learn all this knowledge is both good and bad. Power of knowledge is both great and bad at the same time. But it's all, everything in the planet always all boils down to what you do with it.